it meant anything goes. Anyone could die, anyone could fall in love, anyone could die, anyone could fall in love, anyone could die, anyone could die.
Age of Apocalypse.
Concept was so cool.
Age of Apocalypse.
Concept was so cool.
People couldn't believe it. They had to believe it. People couldn't believe it. They had to believe it.
Everything that you hit on the known level. Out the window. Everything that you hit on the known level. Out the window. Everything that you hit on the known level. Out the window.
I'm Jeremy Greer.
And I'm Gary Butterfield.
And this is Days of Future Cast. And this is the last issue of the Age of Apocalypse series, Gary. This is X-Men Omega. We're here.
We're here. We made it, baby.
This is good.
Yeah. I'm glad that we're not ending on a death march.
Me too.
You know?
This is this is actually some really, I think it's some fun fight scenes, like some good character moments. Yep. The art is reasonably good throughout most of this. There's some questionable material in the middle somewhere, but I would imagine when I was a kid reading this that I would have just been fucking all about this.
Yeah. Yeah, this is super cool. Also, the cover, which is John Romita Jr., in the real version of this is all silvery.
Ooh.
Like this is all reflective and glossy.
Yeah, that's super cool.
So it looks super cool. Like this is a classic cool looking comic from the 90s. And they tie everything together pretty well.
Yeah.
In this. It's mostly a big fight, but it's a pretty good big fight with a couple good character turns and stuff.
A lot of sacrifices. A lot of deaths and sacrifices. Like you could tell that they were taking advantage of
the reset.
Yeah, all of the reset stuff because like they were just killing everybody. And some kind of unusual surprises in my mind. Like some weird ones too. So
I was super wrong about Destiny not being important to the end. She shows up to be there.
Yeah.
To use her power.
She looks at something and is like, this one.
Yeah.
that's cool. What she does. Go this direction, little girl.
She's more important than I thought. And let's get into it because it's a longer than normal issue.
Yeah. And we spent a lot of time talking about Chronicles. We need to get through this.
We gotta get that taste out of our mouth. And we'll start with Magneto's weird black bodysuit that they gave.
I love it, dude. I love it. It's so comfortable. Yeah. It looks so cozy.
Yeah. It's very nice looking yoga Magneto.
X branded Spanx for your whole body.
Yeah. Yep.
If I could buy a black leotard that made me look this ripped, I would probably do it and just wear normal clothes over it. That would be a thing that I would do.
Yeah. I think they make like muscle sculpted.
I'm sure they do.
Bodysuits and shit.
I wouldn't actually do that. I don't really fucking care. I was just making a joke, but yeah.
You're real weird. Like, who would you be doing it for?
Exactly. Yeah, that's always the thing that I get weirded out about.
Like, you'd be for Autumn, like, and then Autumn would be like, "All right, you look good, man. Let's get to bed." And you'd be like,
Do you mind if I keep my shirt on? That's weird.
Do you mind if I keep my bodysuit on?
Strange. It's weird that there's an opening for your dick, there's a cock opening on this thing, but okay, I'm willing to work with it.
One of those little underwear miners flaps.
Autumn, who's known me since I was 19 and weighed 120 pounds soaking wet, would be like, I'm sure she really cares about my muscles.
Yeah. You got really ripped while I was at work.
I know I've been asking you to go to the gym, but it was mostly for your heart. I didn't expect this to be an arm thing. That's really weird.
I was expecting you to do it all in one day.
Strange. So Magneto's being tortured, basically, not only physically but also verbally, because Apocalypse just won't stop talking to him. And this is the typical you need to face reality. You're going to die, Magneto. I'm going to fight to my dying breath, and torture.
Yeah.
Holocaust is here.
Holocaust is also doing whatever his power is. They're both kind of torturing him.
Yes, it's really bizarre.
Yeah. And just Apocalypse is like, did you think I'd really let you die without your X-Men being here? Magneto's like, my X-Men aren't idiots. Like, they're not going to come just save me. And he's like, no, I have thought of that. Like, you aren't the bait for the trap. The Macraeon crystal is.
Yes.
I took the crystal. I got some of my robots guarding it. They will definitely come for the crystal, and they're going to watch you die.
And he's got
So-
like he's looking out through this like weird portal in his like sci-fi castle, and I just love that like one of these like tendrils that are several of these tendrils have like cameras pointed down. Like he's literally going to film this entire thing for multiple angles and like edit this together later.
Yeah, like Apocalypse's copy of iMovie
Exactly.
still has the watermark.
100%. Like this is going to go up on his YouTube, and like he's going to get like in trouble because he's using weird, like emo music. He's going to get like a copyright strike on this thing.
It was the time of your life.
Can't just use Green Day Apocalypse. Shut up, Rex. I can use it when I want to.
Apocalypse uses what he chooses. So we cut over to Angel, who is escaping. If we remember his load-bearing elevator shaft. There's not a whole lot to this. He runs into Karma, who also escaped at some point and is wounded. And it's basically talking about whether he can redeem himself.
Yes.
He go from the fallen angel back to the regular angel. We switch over to the X-Men, who have blinked in, and it's the full team finally put back together.
Yeah. Who's the guy on the top left? I don't recognize him.
Yeah, I don't know. He hasn't been in the book very much.
Yeah, I don't know who that guy is. Seems to have some sort
he gets
of
a scene later.
Ice powers. I'm not really sure what's up with that.
Yeah.
These splash pages are always like, just because of the way that they're assembled, they're always a little goofy, right? Because it's just a bunch of people like trying to go from one place to another. But there's some like serious what the fuck faces in here. Like, Jubilee, what are you doing, girl? And then
I don't know what Jubilee's thinking about. I like how calm Ilyana is.
She's chill, dog. She's just like, I've been through this. This is no Sugar Man, right?
she ain't no Sugar Man. She's got headphones on under that, and she's listening to a podcast.
Absolutely. She thought this was a podluck. This is what she thought. Like she brought one. What's Shadowcat doing here?
Yeah, I don't know. Jumping like Spider-Man. Real ass, like arms down, ass up. This is how we like to blink.
Yep.
Like everybody. It's pretty silly, but this is their action shot as they're popping in, and they're seeing everything is already wrecked. They're like, oh, this has already been destroyed, and this was that rebellion that we saw in Factor X.
Yes.
Gambit finds Beast. And Beast mentions,
I love that. What is that? Is it a man or some sort of beast?
Some sort of the Beast. He basically says how Cyclops and Jean Grey fucked everything up.
Yeah.
And we cut over to them escaping. Both shooting beams.
He is Scott. She is Jean. They have a long way to go. Very funny to me.
Yeah.
But they're being pursued by Havoc. Havoc is still chasing the two of them because he wants revenge. As the X-Men like look up in the air, they see Angel, who is kind of circling around or getting fired upon by all these infinites, and he's managing to up his agility score and avoid all of these shots. And it's revealed that he is carrying a bunch of explosives, which he's aiming for the force field generator. So he literally suicide bombs himself to turn this force field off, which just allows Nathan Summers to walk on in. So
to crawl up.
Exactly.
It looks like Angel just like walked into a bug zapper pretty much.
Yep.
And I love that being Warren Worthington's ultimate fate.
Got one of these under my carport. Just for this reason, just in case any Worthingtons come around. We don't trust that kind over here. That's another Worthington, I say to Autumn. Nathan's crawling up.
Yeah, we pop over.
And the Shadow King shows up and is like, hey, who is he possessing here? Is this Rex? That's not Rex.
Yeah, huh? Shadow King is dead. I don't know why this is the Shadow King.
Yeah.
I don't understand this. It's just a guy with two heads, and they call him Shadow King. And I was like, Shadow King got like psychically flayed. It was the whole point of Excalibur.
I kind of assumed like this was like that. It's not a dude with two heads. It was like a dude with like this is the psychic head coming out. Like that's a way for them to tell us the Shadow King was possessing this dude. But it's not really drawn that way, and I don't know who the guy is. And also, Shadow King is dead, right?
Yeah. Well, and if you had to be a two-headed guy, like these heads are cheek to cheek.
Oh yeah,
like this would be a very uncomfortable way to be a two-headed man,
dude. You would like have to like carefully clean between those cheeks all the time. Like, imagine if one of the heads grew facial hair faster than the other one. It's so itchy, dude. So itchy.
You get ingrown hairs that weren't your own.
Oh my god, dude, I would be so angry. Clean your fucking cheeks.
You could also eat corn on the cob really fast, though,
Do you think
like by having a longer teeth trail.
who was the guy that does the Venture Brothers? Jackson
Public.
Jackson Public. Do you think that those guys had this exact conversation for that two-headed dude on the Order of Chaos? Like we're literally just repeating all of their jokes that didn't make it into the show.
At the same time that happens, Rex pops in and says the Human Council has sent their nukes. Like the southwest of the United States is blown up.
Yes.
No more United States. Magneto's really upset about this, and this is where Apocalypse is like, we have to retaliate, extend the grid.
Yeah.
I love there's a line here where Rex goes, "But my lord, the consequences."
Thanks, Rex.
Yeah.
Like, how long have you worked for
line.
Apocalypse that you're still worried about consequences, right? Like, what are you doing?
It's so general. Like, oh no,
The consequences.
the effect. Yeah. Like,
me sowing. This rules. Me reaping.
yeah. What the fuck's this? Apocalypse goes back to torturing Magneto, but this is where X-Man pops in.
Yeah.
And they team up and they beat up Apocalypse. This is like Magneto's like, the mutant Forge promised to me.
Weird.
I
always thought it was Rogue.
weird.
Like Rogue, like Mystique brought me Rogue. Forge was supposed to bring me a boy. We were supposed to have a little party.
Everyone brings tribute to bisexual Magneto.
The Cajun was supposed to bring the 8-ball, but I think he just snorted it on the way.
Yeah. My secret ingredient is a little chili pea. They start beating up Apocalypse with energy. We pop over to the X-Men who are fighting through Infinites.
Yes.
And stormtroopers trying to get to the crystal. Busting through.
I love Ilyana in the background of this like really tall vertical shot. just looking like a fucking child of the corn in the back, like as all these X-Men are fighting. It's really good.
She looked like she walked out of an elevator in The Shining or something.
Exactly. And Destiny, by the way, Destiny is looking fucking terrified. She's like, "Can I just go back to Antarctica, please? This sucks."
You guys realize I'm an old woman who tells the future. Like I don't
I don't fight.
I don't have powers and shit. Yeah, it's not really what I do.
But they managed to get her to the crystal, and she is able to look at the crystal and use her powers and see this entirely other universe. We just see like panels of big things that happened in the X-Men, like Magneto and Charles fucking right in the middle. That's definitely what's happening.
Yeah.
Or Wolverine getting his adamantium sucked out by Magneto.
Man. They don't look like they're fucking. It looks like Magneto is nursing Charles.
It does look a little bit like maybe a nursing. I just assume that if you're nursing a grown man, like you're in a fucking situation too. But maybe that's my own. I gotta.
Probably.
I mean,
Man, I'm not gonna Google that. That's definitely a thing. Like there are people who are real into that, dude.
I feel like you could probably stumble across that on Pornhub within like 4 clicks if you're not careful.
I do not want. I'm good. I know men lactate sometimes. That's all I need to know about it. So they are the only people who can go into the crystal is Destiny, Magic, and Bishop because they don't have counterparts.
What is this?
In the other world.
What does this mean?
Well, they're dead, but Bishop
isn't, and like I understand that
kind of dead.
Like Ilyana's not born yet in this universe. Like in 616, she's not even alive. But in theory,
no, she is. She died from the legacy virus.
But no, I'm saying she's not born yet. Was Ilyana born in the 70s?
Yeah, Ilyana's magic.
I know Ilyana's magic.
So she's part of the New Mutants. Like she was in the around the 80s and shit.
Oh, I would just assume like when they went back in time.
But then she got de-aged. No, she got de-aged.
I know she got de-aged. I'm just saying,
and got de-aged.
But like, I guess what I'm saying is like I thought that.
Oh, got you. In
at the
Jerusalem.
At the time
Israel.
that like because the X-Men hadn't been formed yet and everything. I don't know why I'm having a hard time getting this point out, but like she's. Yeah,
it's my fault. Like I now understand what you mean.
She's not even an itch in her daddy's pants. Does that make sense? Is that good?
Yeah. Yes. At the time, Xavier was impregnating Gabriel Haller.
Yes, at the time,
she did not exist.
Please bring this back to sex moments. It's the only way that I can process time.
Put it into terms I can understand, Jeremy. Through the conception of Legion, that's the only way I reckon time. I think that the idea is because Destiny would have been alive during that time. I think the idea here is like the 1995 in that universe, like the way they're trying to transfer their future over to the correct timeline.
Okay.
It's people who don't exist. but I don't understand it because Bishop does exist.
But he
even
could
though
have
he's
been,
out of time, like he's from the future.
maybe
or some
in
shit. Like, he doesn't
1995.
actually
Yeah,
have
1995. He's just in a different timeline or something. So
yeah,
I guess.
and that Bishop, he doesn't count. Something like that. It's real dumb. This is the beginning of Colossus starting to be like,
Wait, I thought we were just going to hang out and have cookies, but no, not at all.
Yeah, you were going to use the missiles.
This is interrupted by Holocaust and X-Man plunging through the window above them. So this is the window we saw, like, Apocalypse looking out at this Macron crystal. Holocaust, number one, wearing like treads on the feet with that outfit, which is amazing to me.
Yeah.
Like the minor amount of detail there. Like he
needs some more grip.
Doesn't want to slip. He doesn't want to go slippy when he's slaughtering people. It's really good.
Yeah.
All that blood, Gary.
All blood. Yeah. Yeah. You ever tried walking around in guts?
Yeah.
You need cleats.
You kind of need cleats to walk around in your guts. But also, like, the perspective on this is so fucking wonky that, like, his chest is just so huge. Like, it's crazy to me. Yeah, it's wild.
He's real tucked. They had to get his legs in the frame.
The X-Men start fighting him and, like, immediately recognize Nathan as like, oh, he's wearing gold and blue. Like, he's on our team. That's no big NBD. Yeah. We got this.
Has to be a good side. The Magneto comes down, says hi to his wife real quick, but then goes down to tell Illyana to sacrifice herself.
Oh, I thought you were going to say to groom Illyana to be his second wife.
Like, whenever anyone, don't deliver mutants to Magneto in the Age of Apocalypse.
Seriously, man. Actually, all jokes aside, I really like this because
this is great.
He's saying, like, I can't command you. Like, we're way beyond me commanding or deciding what's going to happen. And he tells Illyana, like, hey, I can only tell you that we cannot create this world without you. We cannot fix this better place. And she just straight up asks, like, because she's a little girl. Like, I mean, she's younger than Charles somehow in this universe, but maybe it's still able to.
Well, Charles is all over the place, man.
But she says, is this a world where there's no Sugar Man? Is there a world where people like me have to be afraid? And he says, I can't promise that. And you see Colossus in the background, like, don't listen to him. He's lying to you. And Bishop comes in and is like, hey, in the other world, we can't fix all of the problems, but at least there's hope. It's not like this world that there's actual hope that it can be better. And Illyana says, well, then I'd rather have hope than nothing at all. And I really like the silhouette shot of like the side of the X-Men. Like, this is really fucking cool. Like, I like all of this. Colossus on the left looks a lot like Strong Guy in the silhouette. It's really
I was going to say that. Also, Beast is there. Is it second to the left? That's got to be Beast, right?
Is it? He's got to be. Yeah.
Yeah. Why did they invite him to this touching?
There's I think they made a remark somewhere of like they didn't want him to go to alert anybody or something.
Yeah. So they recruited him.
Yeah, but which I thought was like going to be something like he was going to switch sides or he was going to betray them, but it just ends up being
just so he can jump into the crystal.
Yeah, so he could try to jump in the crystal later.
It's a great shot. All this stuff is good. All this stuff with Illyana is good.
Yes.
The stronghold starts collapsing. More people get in, and the X-Men are fighting all these just like miscellaneous mutants.
Yeah.
Colossus is like, if you send my sister to her death, we're going to be enemies forever.
Did you not read the brief? Colossus, like, this whole universe is ending, my dog. Like, we're doing.
He didn't really know what was going on.
Colossus, like, come on.
He took the death of Vicente harder than we thought.
Were you just watching wholesome British Netflix series while we were talking about all this stuff? What are you doing?
We cut over to the Jean Grey, who is holding back all the bombs with her psychic powers.
Mm-hmm.
And on the bombs, Logan pops in ahead of them on a parachute. So we're going to have that come back, that reunion.
Mm-hmm.
Holocaust and X-Men are fighting. They're like setting up these guys as like arch enemies. Sure.
Yeah.
And we have just like a really big fight starting here. And during the fight, Sugar Man escapes into the crystal. That happens in like one frame just because he's going to be in the real world.
I love this hop. It's a really good hop.
Yep. Boink.
I want to go back one page real quick because Holocaust and X-Men are fighting, and the text says the answer comes in the form of 100 psionic spikes, but the art is just 100 psionic like bubbles, which seems really strange to me.
It's the power to put Holocaust into a giant sprite.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, there's lots of fighting going on. Like we see some of our Two-Face guys that we were seeing from Generation X. Yeah. Iceman has a line. Just point that out.
Yeah. Well, his line, he has it right before. So Colossus is like lost his mind at this point.
Yes.
He's like, listen, if I'm going to die, I'm going to die at my sister's side. He starts running. Iceman's one line is he's like, hey, whoa, fella, to get in that crystal, we can't do this. Like, you're going to fuck it up. You're going to have to go through me. And he just charges right through him.
Yep.
Shattering Iceman. Gambit manages to stop him by blasting him in the back with Gambit powers. But like Colossus has lost it now.
Yeah, he's in full berserker mode because which we know is a
it's
problem.
His rage
in
and
this
his
universe.
curse.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Destiny is showing like this universe to Ilyana, but Ilyana is saying like, "Hey, I don't have powers. Like, I don't really know what I'm supposed to be doing here." And Destiny is just like, hey, just you have them now. Just imagine them. Like, oh, okay, that worked. Cool.
Yeah.
Awesome.
In another universe, you got them.
Yeah. So you have them here. That all makes sense. And so she opens the portal, and it's Bishop to go in, but not them two, because they don't have counterparts and whatever. It doesn't matter. Let's just move on.
I don't know.
Yeah.
The Human High Council's getting nuked.
Mm-hmm.
Cut over to the Braddocks, hugging Moira McTaggart and Brian Braddock. Apocalypse is watching, and he's just kind of enjoying this.
Yeah.
This is survival of the fittest. This is what he likes. However, there's a big explosion that distracts him from this, and it's Magneto using metal to craft himself like a mech armor.
Yeah.
This is so dumb, but I kind of love it.
Me too.
Like, he just found red metal.
Yeah.
Color-coded bionic armor. Like, I'm kind of way into this, actually.
I'm kind of super into this. Yeah. I am curious. Like, I forgot to mention this at the very first of the issue when Nathan shows up. Magneto just puts his helmet on, and I'm like, did they just save that? Like, this really seems like you should have given that to like Beast or something at this point. But who cares? I don't actually.
It was an
care.
evidence lockup.
Yeah. It was in Warehouse 13. They had to go get it.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then it's just, now that Magneto's all beefed up with this metal armor, he can start, literally going punch for punch with Apocalypse.
Yep. And he's like, you have no more cards left to play. And Apocalypse is like, oh yeah. We cut over a strong guy who has Charles.
Who has an ace in the hole.
The Moppet.
A tiny, weird-looking child.
Yep.
Meanwhile, Logan is landing on the same kind of area that Jean Grey and Cyclops is in, and he lands just in time to see Havoc sneak up behind them and blast Jean from behind. We get a good Jean from Cyclops, which is always appreciated on this podcast.
Love it.
And then it's time for this like kind of ultimate showdown between these two brothers.
Yeah, I actually love this scene.
I do too.
Because Havoc is like still operating on a different, like, we're just playing pretend. He's like, imagine that, big brother. We all fall for traitorous redheads. Don't worry, take your time or something. Like, he's just trying to do one-liners, and Cyclops is like, you fucking idiot. Like, she was holding the bombs up. There's no more time. And this line I really love, like, for God's sakes, Alex, is dying the only thing we'll ever do together?
Nice. I really like it.
Really, really, really good. They start fighting. Their powers work on each other now, which I don't know why that is, but Havoc knocks down Cyclops, and he's just like, I finally won, just in time for Wolverine to stab him in the back and kill him.
Boom. Dead.
Yeah.
I am
real great.
Extremely happy that, like, it seems like this is Cyclops. This is the end of Cyclops. It really seems like Havoc won. And even though, like, Wolverine kills him, I am so happy that there wasn't a Cyclops and Jean like death scene together, right? Because I fully expected them to. Yeah, exactly. Like, they barely, like, they were holding hands in the fight, and they're like, we met our future kid, I guess, and that made me feel funny downstairs, but I don't know how to do any of this. Like, I'm so confused. But we didn't get like any of that, really. Like, it's Wolverine, it's Logan and Jean who have like the touching moment goodbye, which is so much better. Like, I actually even kind of like this line of like, Logan tries to remembers this mythical bird that would come back, but he knows that Jean Grey is no Phoenix. Like, it is fan servicey. It is. I really enjoy it. Like, I'm a fan and I like to be serviced, as my wife likes to say from time to time.
In this specific sense, this is pretty good. It's a good like tragic ending for that series of books.
Yeah.
Those two. We cut back to the past where Bishop has popped out. Age of Apocalypse Bishop is now in Jerusalem, or Israel rather. In this original fight that started this whole thing and during the Legion quest. He's going to go try to stop Legion, but our Bishop stops him.
Yes.
He's like, I don't know who you are. He's like, don't you? Cut over to Back to the Future. It's not the future, the alternate dimension, and the future. Beast pops into the crystal to teleport in, by hurting Morph, and Quicksilver runs over and scatters him.
Yes.
Like fucks around with the keyboard. We're going to find out what this does is send him back in time. He is the one who I think created the Morlocks.
Hell yeah. Sounds right.
Or no, Genosha. He created the magistrates, like the mutates, like took away the way to make people have powers in Genosha. So I think Sugar Man might have to do the Morlocks. Yeah. Anywho, this is him popping into our universe.
Yes. We go back to Colossus, who is charging for the crystal. Gambit has kind of been knocked out of the way, and so the only one to stand there is it's Shadowcat, who moves to stand in front of him, trusting that he loves her enough that he'll see her through the rage. And so when he gets to her, she doesn't even phase, meaning that he literally just runs over the love of his life. And as he does so, like he realizes what he's done, and he comes out of it and is, no, I can't believe I did this. And then Gambit gets him from the back, and like, what a fucking tragic ending for both Shadowcat and Colossus in this moment. Like, and
Colossus turns back into a human at this point from grief. Like we've never seen him in human form in this thing. It just he can't do it anymore, and he's gonna die if this has happened in the 616 as well, where he'll take a damage in his metal form, and if he turns back into a human, he'll die.
Mm-hmm.
And he does it here. And he runs up to Ilyana, who is fine. He wasn't exactly sure what she was doing. Like, they were sacrificing the universe, but he was trying to be by your side, but she's actually okay. Like, she pops up, and he's like, as he's dying, he's like, I thought I was brave, but you're actually the bravest one of all.
Yeah. And,
it's very sad.
And he dies, asking for her to give him courage. And then Quicksilver grabs her and takes her out of kind of the danger zone. Of course, he said, the worst thing you can do is lose a brother or sister. And Ilyana says, he told me he was scared, and now I am too. Meanwhile, Rogue is fucking up Strong Guy, which is really satisfying for some reason. I don't know why.
Yep. I have no idea how she does it. She drew his mass away and turned it into raw power.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess just sucking up his superpowers.
Yeah.
But it sucked away his mass and then punches him real good and saves their baby of indeterminate age.
Yeah. Why does Rogue have a nipple?
Let me look.
Bottom left panel.
Oh, I don't know.
Bottom left panel.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. That's a lot.
Just a nipping up.
That's really sharp looking.
It's too much.
You could dip that in ink and like draw the Constitution.
I'm looking that up on Pornhub right now.
Show me a nipple dipped in ink drawing the Magna Carta, the Magneto Carta.
Charles is there. Charles is now like a 12-year-old or something, and he's like, "What's Daddy fighting for?" And she says, "He's fighting for us all, Charles. He's fighting for us all."
Yeah. Cut back to Apocalypse. Apocalypse is planning to go into this other universe. Yes. Like he sees he's lost, but he's like, I'm going to go conquer this other world.
And he can do that because he has a shard. He has the original shard of the crystal that they found. So it's not the full crystal, it's just the shard, but he's going to use that to open a passageway to an alternate time stream.
Yep. But who else has a shard but Nate Gray, who comes through and kicks Apocalypse, or takes his shard, rather, and says, I've got 4 words for you. This one's for Forge, which, like, I did not care about Forge that much.
Neither.
But I know that Nate did.
Meanwhile, in our universe, in the 616, the future bishop punches the past bishop, says, I don't have time for this. I don't have time to tell you how I don't have time for this, says the Destiny writers. Yes. He shouts for David, a.k.a. Legion. David is surprised that anybody knows his real name. And he tackles Legion and then sets up this psychic feedback loop, which allows Legion to see everything that has been happening in the Age of Apocalypse universe. And Bishop does not pull any punches here. He's like,
no, this is hilariously cruel for a kid who is
he was been through a lot.
Mentally well.
He was been through like a whole lot.
Through a lot. Yeah, who is well intentioned and not mentally well. This is one of the meaner things I've ever seen in an X-Men comic.
This is so mean.
Yeah, he's repentant. He's like, it was all my fault. I made it worse. I was trying to do good. Bishop's like, I know. Or he's like, I wasn't trying to screw it up. And Bishop's like, I know, but you did. You turned into a nightmare. Now your own energies consume you. It's the price for your folly. I'll fade. You had the potential to be the greatest of us all, but instead you squandered it. Your father would not be proud. Just the last thing Legion gets to hear before he dies.
Got him.
Got him in one, man. Just Legion's been canceled.
Shit. Take that fucking Twitter away. Go to that Pride Twitter or whatever that is. I don't care.
Yeah. It's so harsh.
So
unbelievably harsh.
The existing X-Men are like, I don't really know what's happening here, but they immediately start getting sucked back to the present. In the past, they basically say, like, Gabrielle is there. She's like, did somebody say something about me being a mom? And she's like, no. They said that you were going to be my mommy, and I'll teach you what that means later.
Yeah. She feels an inexplicable loss.
Eric,
of her future
get
kid.
the ink and parchment. We have a document to write.
We cut back to the future where everybody's just blasting Apocalypse with beams or rays or whatever.
Yeah.
And
I wish this was a little cooler, by the way.
This isn't very good.
I feel like just from like a blocking standpoint, like these are just not cool fight scenes. And,
yeah. At least during this part.
Yeah.
You know. Holocaust pops back up and Nate Gray stabs him in the stomach with the Macran crystal, which is what teleports them both to the 616. And then Apocalypse now is one-on-one with Magneto, starts beating him up, and he's like, why won't you fight back? Like, and he says, like, I can't, I'm concentrating. And what he's doing is drawing from the Earth's magnetic field to just pull Apocalypse into two pieces.
This is fucking rad.
This is awesome.
This is great.
Yeah, real good moment.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And Apocalypse's head is just there on the floor, like, I like trying to talk.
Yeah.
This is super good. Tell me again how strong you are. Tell me how only the strong survive.
Magneto's
real good.
Magneto's gonna walk out and have a little family moment here. But if this was me, I would do the family moment, wait for the universe to end. But I'd definitely go back for that head. Right?
Oh yeah.
I'd want to keep the head for as long as I could. Like, that dude has represented my entire life, and I'm gonna keep the head.
Well, also it's gonna reconstitute or something. Like Sugar Man or Mr. Sinister, somebody's gonna grab it and be like, hee.
Yeah.
I can bring him back. Like, you definitely want to keep that shit.
Yeah.
He goes to his family moment. It's him, Rogue, and Charles, and they're watching the nuclear explosions that hit because Jean Grey wasn't there to stop them. So even if the universe was not switching over, there was going to be Armageddon.
Yes.
And they have their little family moment. They talked, they have hope. Like Magneto's like, I would not believe until I met you that there would have been good that was possible. And they stare off into the nuclear explosion as it sweeps over them.
And we haven't mentioned it, but there's been, in the narration, there's been a running countdown of moments to the apocalypse. And of course, the last panel here, as it's, kind of a offset circle with an X, is 0. And that's the end. That's the end of this universe. And more stuff happens because of this that we're not going to talk about, really.
No.
I'm not going to read
Not really.
X-Man.
No, certainly not. Like, apparently that eventually gets kind of good. But early on it's real dumb. And he has a girlfriend named Threnody, which I've always thought is a real dumb name.
Threnody. Why does that ring a bell? That sounds like a Clive Barker character.
Yeah, it means something. Like she transitions sadness into death or something. Like, she has like really emo powers. She's got real Shirley Manson powers. Yeah, it's not good. But this is a really good end to the crossover, I think. I like these last scenes. I like these last fights. Everybody gets something to do.
Mm-hmm.
I think most of the storylines are wrapped up really, in a satisfying way. Like, Colossus pays for leaving Generation Next to die. He doesn't get off scot-free.
Agreed.
Nightcrawler doesn't get a line. There's not really anything with that storyline, but most of them actually kind of paid off.
Destiny,
like,
I got you
Gambit
here. Go over there.
Yeah, he basically is just there to carry Destiny around.
That's it. That was his good job, Nightcrawler.
Yeah, you did it. Gambit kind of redeems himself for letting Charles go by stopping Colossus from fucking up the ceremony or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody kind of gets a wrap up who had anything.
And I mentioned it, but like I
place.
really like the Jean Grey Logan triangle wasn't actually like a triangle in this. Like, I think they did a pretty good job of having Cyclops and Jean kind of like have the look, but have it like be focused on Jean and Logan. And even with the breakup and like him coming back for her, even if it meant him getting in front of the nuclear explosion, I think it was really powerful, even if he only got there just in time to have that goodbye moment and have, for them to be able to say like, oh, you've always been there for me. I know you will always be for me is really good and emotional. Like, that's good.
Well, and he sacrificed himself to see her again. Like he was, you know, he had talked about in his story, like how it tearing him up that he had to like, he was going to nuke the area where she was at. And he decided to be nuked too, you know,
tearing him up like gut traps so it's, or like mental stuff, you think?
Yeah, exactly. It's good. Like this is a good ending to this, you know, I like it. We'll talk about the kind of whole crossover during our next episode, which is our wrap up feedback episode where we're also announcing what we're doing next.
Yes.
Stay tuned for that. Either in a little while or a couple days, depending on how you're listening to this.
Yeah. And if you want to listen to it in a little while, you should go to Duckfeed.tv. Nope. Patreon.com/DuckFeedTV and donate a couple of dollars so you can get early releases of this podcast where we group up all 4 episodes into a good 2-week bunch. So you can binge like we were Netflix or Hulu or Peacock.
Just like Work Weeby, baby. Yeah, you can also leave us ratings and reviews on Apple Podcast, and you can tell your friends all about the show. You have X-Men friends, which you should.
Yeah.
They might like it.
Who's your X-Men friends IRL? Like now we know each other IRL, so like I don't count, but like who would it be? Your brother, your buddy? What's his name?
Derek.
Derek.
Yeah, Derek's my X-Men friend.
Cool.
Yeah. When those movies come here, nobody in Portland's gonna go fucking see them shits. Like I ended up going and seeing Phoenix alone. You know, I went and saw Logan alone. Like it was not.
I'm real surprised you couldn't get someone down for Logan. Like even as like an X-Men movie, like I figured like just the ultra violence of that would get someone going.
Yeah, Braden would ordinarily be my guy for that, but Braden works a lot and he's got a domestic life, so it's hard to get him out. You know, he went and saw the Justice League movie with me, but he wouldn't. He didn't
Poor choices.
Poor choices, man. Ended up at like all of that kind of like I ended up seeing a lot of like dork movies alone. So
you think you're gonna get your since you know you've got the relationship now, you got your girl. Like Autumn like suffers through all of this bullshit with me. Do you think you're gonna be able to get her to be like, why don't you come to the movie with me?
We went and saw Into the Spider-Verse, and she liked that. So like some of it, sometimes, yeah. I think kind of on a case by case basis. I don't think I could have sold her on Phoenix.
On the third movie of a franchise that references like 5 new movies before it. Yeah, probably not.
Yeah. But you know, like every once in a while, I think I can get her in on that stuff.
You know, Sansa? So. What if?
Yeah. Well, this presupposes an alternate universe where Sansa Stark grew up to be a mutant.
Yeah.
The ultimate White Walker. Yeah.
So thanks for listening, everybody. Anyway. Like Gary mentioned, in the next episode, we're going to be announcing what we're covering next. Until then, I hope you stay safe. Good night.